Hi folks, thank you so much for coming to our first Younglife virtual banquet. And I just want you to know that we have an amazing video of kids and all the things that we're doing in Escondido. We have continued to work with kids in different ways than I ever imagined. We have Zoom calls, we've been delivering packages to kids, we have been delivering meals to kids, we have been helping families, and it's been a very challenging time, and I know it, but thank you so much for being a part of our virtual banquet this year, of some of the things that have happened in our area and some of the things that we've been doing. At the very end, one of our beloved area directors, Scott Lisea, is going to give a short message. Please stay to the end and listen to it all.
The claw.
Younglife, San Diego, North County, come on, hello, that's my stomping grounds, my roots. Scott Lisea here, former area director there from 1988 to 98, and man, were those 10 of the best years of our life. When I graduated Westmont College in 1988, Younglife took a chance on me and brought me on as an intern there. Lived out in Valley Center and started working in Escondido, bringing our first group of kids down to Mira Mesa, the nearest Younglife club. And then just things got rolling, and had just phenomenal years there coaching and getting a bunch of other people in the coaching, and just watching adults from all over the community do whatever it took to get into the lives of kids. And that was just so inspiring. It really set a course for our life. And I was always inspired at watching our Younglife leaders do whatever it took. Man, I always joke that I've been rejected by the most unpopular kid at any school. And I know that was true. I remember asking one Younglife leader one time how his day was, and he said, well, you know, the low point was getting a bean burrito thrown at my back during the lunchtime on the quad. But you know, that Younglife leader just kept going and kept going and kept going, and that's kind of, we're not right in the head, but it's what is so beautiful about the mission. And when I think of the mission there in those years, like I said, just continue to be inspired by watching Younglife leaders go into the life of kids, and in all sorts of ways. One of the stories I love most out of the Gospels is in Mark 2, because it makes me think, I think these were the first Younglife leaders ever. The story is Jesus has come back to Capernaum, sort of his home base for ministry, and he's teaching, and the word has gotten out that Jesus is back in town, and the place is just packed with people, and so much so that it's like standing room only. And it says that there came 4 of them carrying with them their friend who was a paralytic since birth. And they can't get him into the room to see Jesus. Now they are excited to get their friend to come see Jesus. They must have heard something about what Jesus could do with people. Maybe they've seen it themselves. Maybe they were healed themselves and this is one of their friends. But they are passionate, and we know this because a normal person would try to get them in the door, or try to get them maybe in the window. That's kind of wild. and stop there when that wasn't possible. But these guys aren't normal. They are passionate, and they take their friend up on the roof of the building and they start digging a hole through the roof of the house. Now, if you've ever hosted a Young Life Club, you know this isn't that far off. In fact, one of our volunteer leaders, who is now your longtime area director, Gene Sibilia, when Gene was volunteer, he was so handy that one of his jobs was, besides loving kids all the time, we need you to fix whatever we break every week. In fact, I remember one time during a club in Escondido, I threw a whipped cream pie and it glanced off the face of the leader it was supposed to hit and went straight into an open piano. Oops-a-daisy. Anyways, these guys start digging this hole, and Jesus is teaching, and I always love to imagine this stuff is falling down, and he finally looks up, and down comes this guy being lowered down by his friends to the feet of Jesus. Now you might be thinking, oh, this is what a sweet scene. The crowds may be thinking, oh goody, maybe a healing. I think they don't know what's going on, because this guy, as someone with a disability, they're only looking at him the way that their culture has taught them to look at him, and that is that he is a judgment of God. That he actually, because of either something he did or his parents, he is actually delaying the return of the Messiah. That was the cultural thought. And here he is, yet lowered down at the feet of Jesus. And if I'm filming this movie, I take the camera and I pan it up through the ceiling to see the faces of those friends, because it says that Jesus actually looked up there, and it says, seeing their faith, then he goes to work on this guy. And the first thing he does is more powerful even than a healing. He says, my son. He dresses him with affection. He calls him my son. So you're not a piece of judgment. You are my son. Your sins are forgiven. The biggest problem that this guy had was not that he couldn't walk. It was that he had a sin issue, and certainly the culture had a perception of what that meant in his life. And the first thing Jesus does is restore him to his community. Then he has this wild conversation with the religious people who are all bent out of shape. And he says, okay, in order to demonstrate that the Son of Man, the Messiah, has authority to forgive sins, then he goes to work on him. He says, get up, take up your mat, and walk. It's exactly what happens. The guy pops up, grabs his mat, and I like to say, man, he boogies out of there. And I like to think that maybe that's the night up on the roof that the high five was invented, because can you imagine what those four guys, what they're experiencing up in there? They're high-fiving each other, they're cheering. Maybe one of them falls through the ceiling, Jesus heals him. I don't know, we don't get that part of the story. But they are just thrilled at what they got to watch happen in the life of somebody that they care about. And I've always loved that story as a part of a Young Life picture of what leaders do, who go through all sorts of extraordinary lengths, doing whatever it takes, sane and insane, to get kids in front of the feet of Jesus. Because we are just sure that if they'll get there, Jesus will go to work on them and something transformative will happen in their life. And I just want to invite you to be those kind of people. Maybe the Lord's inviting you to be a leader with Young Life and find ways to get kids in front of Jesus. Maybe the Lord's inviting you to be a part of the local board. We call it the local committee, to use your influence and wisdom and expertise to see that this work in this part of San Diego stays thriving. It's got a long, long, beautiful history there. Maybe it's your turn to make sure that it still thrives. But I think maybe something even more radical at this time, in the midst of this whole COVID-19 deal, is that you might be moved actually even now in this circumstance to make a financial gift to see that this ministry keeps going. I mean, Young Life operates on so little margin because we are a lot of bang for a very little buck. Most of the work is volunteers, but then you got guys like Gene Sibilia, area directors, who work as a CEO to coordinate this whole thing. And the wind is picking up here in Santa Barbara, but we're just going to keep going. Because you know what we do? We work in spite of great odds and difficulty. That's what I'm asking you to be a part of. just lean in this really hard time. One of the things I love to think about is that, these 4 friends had 4 different ropes, and they had to lower their friend down. And I don't know what your rope is. Maybe it's finances right now. Maybe it's prayer. Maybe it's your own life. Whatever it takes, I just want to invite you to be one of those kind of people right now for the good of the Young Life ministry in your community. One of the things I like to wonder about is, how are these kids going to hear about Jesus if somebody doesn't go out and tell them? And maybe you grew up knowing about the Lord from being a little kid. Maybe your kids have grown up in a home where they've heard about Jesus. But what about the majority of kids in your part of the world? How are they going to hear unless somebody goes out and tells them? And that's what Young Life leaders are. We are people who go out and find kids and tell them the greatest news and do whatever it takes to bring them to his feet. I just want to invite you, even in this wild time, unprecedented time, to do an unprecedented thing, and that is make a really sacrificial gift to Young Life in this part of San Diego, and see that it keeps thriving in every circumstance. The gospel doesn't stop. Jesus never stops being good news. Let's make it keep happening. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you have invested in this work. Thank you for everyone that you've invested in. I'm one of those people that had my life changed in your community. Let's keep it going.
Friends, thank you so much for being a part of our video and watching it all the way to the end. I just want you to know that what our area really needs is, we need some people. We've had great, faithful people that have been walking alongside of me for almost 19 years here in Escondido as a staff person. And I need some people that would come and walk alongside of me and my young staff and be a part of our ministry. So if God is tugging at your hearts at all, please give me a call. And I'd love to have coffee with you. Maybe that right now at this time it's going to be a virtual coffee. I would love to speak with you and have you come alongside of us and be a part of our mission. We are going to have a link below that will help if you're interested in donating or being a part. You'll be able to get all the information in the information below. Thank you so much.
Closest thing to Michelle Pfeiffer that you've ever seen. Oh,